Welcome to episode 27 of the Toronto Living's Real Estate Podcast Show.
Ooh, radio host voice.
Like that? Yeah, we're asking the hard question today. Does Toronto need Uber?
Uber.
We're also trying something different where we're going to be making espresso.
We are.
Yeah.
This is going to be a new trend.
It is.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It should be.
Joey gives me my dad's hot sauce back.
Yeah.
Well, no spoiler alert. Listen to the episode to see what it's all about. Yeah, we take a deep dive into Uber and we kind of talk about City Council's idea of putting a cap on the amount of Uber drivers on the road and have a discussion of whether that makes sense or not.
Yep.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Enjoy the show. Ciao.
Ciao.
Is that Italian or French?
Olivia?
What? Oh, next level. All right, let's do it.
All right.
Start the show.
Welcome to the Toronto Living's Podcast, a conversation about all things Toronto with a focus on real estate, the culture, and of course, the food.
I'm Mark Savell.
And I'm Joey Virgilio.
And we're realtors with Sage Real Estate working together as a Toronto Living's team with a focus on helping you buy better, sell higher, and of course, having a little bit of fun along the way. Buongiorno, Joey.
Buongiorno. It's classy today.
Yeah. Keeping it classy today.
A little Perry influence I see.
Where is that?
From Age.
Oh, but buongiorno is Italian.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Bonjour.
Bonjour is French. All right, on today's episode, we're going to talk to Joey about geography, the difference in languages between French and Italian.
It's one letter, okay? One letter got mixed up here.
Grazie. Do you know what that means?
That's Italian. Yeah.
That's Italian, yeah. Well, we're doing a lot today, so it's okay.
Yes.
We're doing a lot. We got a lot going on here. So one of my goals from the beginning of this podcast was centered around making espresso
Yes.
and having a conversation about whatever topics we come up with. But it's been so long of a process just to get us to figuring out a format that I kind of forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then today I was like, you know what? I should go get a beacon burner. Are these called beacon burners?
Sure.
I don't know, from science class. A little portable stove.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to make a stovetop espresso today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was purchased on day one of the podcast.
It was.
The burner was not.
It was not. Episode 27 is when it was purchased, which is the episode you're tuning into. So use that as your cue to tune in on Spotify and YouTube, where you can see us making coffee.
That's right.
Well, it's making itself. We're not really doing much. Yeah. And we're not sure how it's going to turn out because this is our first attempt at this. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. How have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. We've been going good.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. How's it going?
This week was fun. Fun week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun Sunday fun day for me. Good friends of mine, Ryan and Brenda, took me and the wife out for an anniversary treat.
Okay.
They took us to Yakushi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, did I see this on Instagram?
I hope so. Yeah.
Did you post it on Instagram?
Big sword.
Yeah.
Fire.
Oh, yeah. That sword looked nuts.
That was a dessert sword. So Michelin Mark came out this week. He doesn't make too many appearances, but he was lucky enough to make an appearance at Yakushi. And it's right up Mount Pleasant and Eglinton, just south of there.
Yeah.
This was an experience like no other. It's a small restaurant. It only fits 15 people. There was seven of us there, 4 in our group, 3 in another group. And you sit at the chef's table and he basically takes you through a tasting menu of probably about 8 courses.
Ooh. Oh, 8 courses.
Oh yeah.
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 So what was top notch? Like what was give me the rundown.
Okay. So he received a Michelin star. So he's a proper Michelin star restaurant.
Michelin Mark.
Well, I didn't receive a Michelin star. I ate a Michelin. Chef Izutsu, I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah.
He received the Michelin star. And like such a chill guy. He was just like talking to us and, what brought you to Toronto? I was asking him all those type of questions. And he kind of, he just came here. Well, he came here with the Japanese consulate in, I think, 2002. Oh. And he worked at a series of restaurants, opened up a couple of his own, and now he's got this place since 2018. And like, what a wild experience. The favorite for me was Wagyu beef. So you cannot get Kobe beef in Canada. Mm-hmm. So if you see it advertised, it's a lie. Kobe beef can only be had in Kobe, Japan, unless you're smuggling it in a suitcase, which I've once had. So it's possible, but it's very, very rare you're actually eating Kobe beef in Canada. So it was a Wagyu beef. It was a little strip of beef with foie gras, which is your Parisian, influence. So duck fat on top, torched.
Oh, nice.
This was butter on butter.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it was an 8-course meal, small little servings for each meal, but you just felt so full in the end of it. It was incredible.
How long does that process take?
Right. Good question. So our rezo was for 5:30 and I was working on a deal. So I'm like, give me an hour. I'm just doing this dinner. It should be done an hour and a half with a little bit of conversation and dessert.
Yeah.
It's like 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
Not complaining. Best 3 hours of my life.
I was going to say, yeah, that's probably fantastic.
It was until 8:30 we got out of there and they have a second sitting. So he only does 2 servings a night. So you either get the 5:30 one or the 8:30 one.
So does he cook the whole thing in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. That's amazing.
Insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I was most excited because I've had a few friends who've been there and they told me I had to try the melon. And it's like a $300 melon from Japan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where the sword came from.
So he asked me, why are you here? And I said, the melon. I heard so much about this melon. And he's like, okay, that's on the menu. You're getting that tonight. Don't worry about it. So he brings out this half melon and this 4-inch samurai sword. And he's there with precision. Cutting it up, and my God, was that a melon for the books?
Was it?
Yeah, fantastic.
I got a comment on his story because I watched the Instagram thing, and when you say precise, it was precise.
Man,
he made sure it was in a very specific spot before he made that cut.
Right?
Yeah,
and that was a one cut, that
was a one shot.
One shot. He just man, I have got so much respect for chefs, like so much more of appreciation for what a chef does to make. Look, I'm not even sure how this espresso is going to come out. This guy put on an 8-course menu that just blew our socks off.
Yeah, that's amazing.
My tongue tingled in ways it's never tingled before. Like there was some ingredients. He did like the raw fish was one of the courses.
Yeah.
And there was this smoked salt that tasted like I was eating a campfire.
Oh.
It was mind-blowingly good.
Like s'mores.
Sure. Yeah, we'll just say it tastes like s'mores. He won a Michelin star for his s'mores. But no, it was an incredible experience. If you ever get the opportunity to go, it ain't cheap, but for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, man, that was something I will never forget.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so thank you, Ryan and Brenda, for taking us out and gracing us with that.
Love that.
And then I went back to Lardo.
Oh,
I gotta take you there.
Yeah, another appearance.
The chicken cutlet. Out of this
sold.
world.
I'm already
Focaccia
sold.
bread, cheese. Do you like roasted red peppers?
Yeah.
I don't, but they serve it. I take it off. You can have mine if we go.
Done.
Out of this world good.
I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to go. That's like, if you're going to name like Joe's top food, it's chicken cutlets.
Chicken cutlets?
Chicken cutlets.
Chicken, yeah.
Chicken cutlets all day long.
Okay.
In sandwiches.
And this is not like your skimpy little starved chicken.
Beefy.
This is a fatty chicken.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
Get me pumped up.
Yeah, I went with Ashley from our office. We met up there.
Yeah.
So good to talk to her.
Yeah.
Listener of the show. So shout out Ashley. She gave us the seal of approval to keep doing our thing.
Love it.
So it was really good to connect with her. We were really just talking shop, and she's been in the business for about 1.5 years now. And it was really good to see the enthusiasm she has and like the dedication to wanting to be the best she can be.
Love it.
So excited to see where she goes in life, and always down to have chicken cutlets with Ashley or you, anyone really. But what have you been up to? What's your culinary adventure?
Oh, culinary adventure. Let's keep it classy. Since we're talking about Michelin star.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to a place called Beer Town.
Can I just say, I love that there's an establishment called Beer Town.
Okay, in all honesty, I didn't end up going to Beer Town that night.
Aw.
But I go pretty much every time I head out there.
Where is it?
It's in Etobicoke.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Islington. It's 1020 Islington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's basically a gigantic craft beer haven.
Nice.
Food is on point. Okay. It's a chain. It's got about, I think it's 10 or 20 places at this point. But man, the beer's on point, and their nachos.
Ooh.
I got to talk about their nachos.
Please.
They got make brisket nachos that come out, and it is the size of, it's the bottom of a keg. They chop up the bottom of a keg.
What?
And they make nachos within that little circle. Well, not little circle. It's a gigantic circle of this bottom of a keg.
Do you order one for yourself, or do you share with the table?
So no. We share with the table. I share with the table.
Okay.
Although one time they did accidentally, I think they forgot the brisket or something like that. So they gave us 2 of them. So there was a.
I'm sensing a theme here. Why are restaurateurs always forgetting something and then doubling up on a Joey order? This happened with the Mars and your eggs when you ingested 17 eggs in one sitting. Yeah. Or was it the Pimel bacon? They gave you double eggs on the Pimel.
Yeah. And you think of why I have digestive issues.
Doc, if you're listening. We solved Joey's problems, but the brisket was next level.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
They're like fantastic. Like it's a good vibe and it's a good spot. We used to go to Wingporium, which was just across the street.
Where? Sorry?
Wingporium.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These are like,
Never heard of these establishments.
also a chain. Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I've never heard of Wingporium ever. But it's funny because I was asking you what you're up to. You're like, yeah, I'm going to Beer Town. And I thought that was like a thing you and the guy say, like, it's Beer Town time. Let's
taking the train down to Beer
Beer
Town.
Town. You're like, no, it's a chain. It's a business. I guess shout out Beer Town.
Yeah, shout out Beer Town.
Do you have a favorite? It was IPA. Is that the correct thing to say with beer?
Yeah, it's a craft beer.
Okay. Do you have a favorite?
Truthfully, no. I'll either try something new when I'm there. I don't do beer as much as I used to do.
Yeah, same.
So-
I got more into beer after Portugal.
Oh, did it re-spark something?
No, I've never been a beer guy because, as you can tell by my belly, I bloat after eating a piece of bread. So beer's not my friend, but Superbock seems to be okay.
Superbock.
I'm probably butchering the name, but yeah.
I saw it, and yeah, it was made a big deal of.
I love it.
Superbock.
At Beer Town?
No. No, you told me about it.
Yeah. I love Superbock. I feel like craft beers always have like wild names.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're like, was the Flying Monkey? Is that it?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Something monkey. I was just like Cranky Monkey, but flying.
They always
monkey.
have the craziest labels on
Yeah.
their beers. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always something like super unique.
So what would the Joey V craft beer be called?
Oh man, Joey
I
B.
started to put you on the spot.
It should be called the Barrel of Technology.
I was not expecting the T word. I thought you were going to say the barrel of love.
Oh, that would have been good too.
That's okay.
It's the Barrel of Technology.
Of technology.
Yeah, the opposite of love.
All right. Well, if any craft beer companies want to sponsor Joey,
I got names out.
he's got names coming for you. Dr. Stevenson.
Dr. Stevenson's got them all laid out.
Well, that's awesome. Good experience. Week-wise. Oh, wait. You have a note here. Try the pretzel.
Oh yeah, try the pretzel. The note is try the pretzel.
Try the pretzel.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to try the pretzel.
Okay.
It's I don't know. There's something about it that's like they come with a side of like honey garlic. And it's damn delicious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like your New York style pretzel?
Yeah. What's a New York style pretzel? I'm assuming so.
It's really big and it has like
it's a
chunks
big
of salt on it.
Yeah. It's that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretzel.
Oh man, I got to do a Joey tour of the world because I feel like your reality of the world and the actual reality of the world are like two different universes. Anyhow, moving along here. It's been a slow week. No, not hiding that from anyone.
Yeah.
The phone's gotten a little bit quieter. Not really getting the realtor.ca leads, but I'm welcoming it.
Yeah.
Something to do. I went out with my sister this week.
Oh, did you?
Janelle S. You might remember her from previous episodes. Yeah, she's really getting into like listening to the show and telling me where I should do better. So thank you, Janelle, for that. But you know what? We had a really good conversation because she brought up something important that I think maybe has come across the wrong way on the podcast.
Okay.
And she's like, "What's wrong with renting?" And I was like, "Nothing. Why?" She goes, "I get sometimes the feeling that you put a lot of the pressure on people need to own." And I said, "No, I don't think." I could see why she would say that, but I don't believe that. I don't believe everybody needs to own. I think renting would make a lot of sense for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But I do wish that if you have the opportunity to, you do own. I think long term, I believe that you'll be better off financially speaking. Doesn't mean your life would be more enjoyable because it comes with a lot of stress. But that's kind of the message that I want to get across. But we got into this whole thing of like savings because she's like, well, where's the gap between I should buy a home and how I buy a home? And I said, well, it really comes down to your saving habits. And we had a really good talk. And so I wanted to do an episode on savings. Ooh, we might be ready with the coffee here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we are ready.
It's there.
Buddy, we are bubbling over. So in a future episode, we're definitely going to do a talk about like how to save up for a house. So what are some practical things you can do to actually get yourself there? I hope this doesn't set the smoke alarm off. But you smell that?
Yeah.
This is an old Tim Hortons here, baby. Oh, I love that. All right, let's pour some coffee in our cups here.
Let's do it.
So in saying all that, today's episode was supposed to be about like, does it make sense to buy in 2023? However, City Council did something really unexpected this week.
It was a shock, and it came quick.
Yeah, like left field quick. I remember I was checking Twitter, something the doctor says I also should not be doing. And I saw the Toronto Star was talking that they, pleasure. sorry, we're this long-winded story here. They decided to put a cap on Uber drivers.
That's right.
So I was going to make it a show note to today's episode, but I got so deep into this that this is the Uber episode. We're only talking about Uber today because I think I learned a lot really getting into the weeds about how they're set up and maybe what the problems and possible solution is to Uber. So we'll get into that. But maybe we should do this hot sauce challenge.
Oh, okay. We're doing it right. We should do it before we get into it.
Yeah.
Keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can carry the show if my tongue gives out on this one. So a couple commenters to the challenge episode said that you potentially got a weak batch of hot sauce.
Okay.
And I said, I have no way of knowing. I didn't try it. And so they said, well, you better try it. So crack her open. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. I am pumped. Also, maybe, I don't know. We're going to find out.
You put quite a bit of damage into that. You've done good.
I told you this is a staple.
Okay. I'm going to get my water bottle here. But how good is that coffee smell right now?
Oh, it's amazing. This room smells incredible right now.
All right. This is a weekly thing. We're making espresso on every episode. All right. Smell test. It actually doesn't smell too hot.
Okay, let's find out.
Maybe you got a weak batch.
We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do a refresher if that's the case.
Yeah, my dad made he made weed oil this week.
Oh, okay.
With coconut for his he's got joint problems. Yeah. Coconut butter.
Oh,
so he rubs you. I don't know.
Like he cooks it with it.
Yeah, okay. He takes marijuana baths. I don't know. No, he doesn't do that. he puts it in a crock pot and he makes some type of oil that's supposed to help his joints.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So this week was weed. Next week I think is the hot sauce again.
Okay.
It smells a little picante, but
I've been keeping it in the fridge.
Yeah, well, I don't think that makes it less hot.
No.
Is that a good amount? You approve of that?
Yeah.
It's more than I've ever had in my life. I'll tell you that much. So, all right, here we go. The Jimmy the Rock God's Joey Challenge. Oh, oh, buddy. Okay, that's hot, but it's not terrible.
It's okay.
Maybe it is. Not hot.
No,
a little bit though. I don't know what I feel right now.
That's the back and
forth. It's manageable.
Yeah.
I'm not. Maybe I don't know what I feel right now.
Okay. Tears starting to come up a little bit.
It's hot, but it's manageable.
Okay.
Definitely,
you're still talking full sentences.
Yeah. You know what? That's not bad. That's a Jamaican patty.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could handle a Jamaican patty, you could handle Jimmy the Rock God's hot sauce.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Dad, come on, make it hotter, man. What's wrong with you?
Wait, is this a light batch?
Yeah.
Okay, so should we do it? We got to do another batch.
Then. Yeah. I mean, my nose is running and it's hot, but I could still talk.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to get a fresher one.
Yeah. I'm gonna close that up. We'll try the 2023 batch, see if he's gotten any hotter. But the flavor is really good.
I love it. Yeah.
I could see why you would. Yeah, pastas.
And I put it on literally everything anything that could take hot sauce is what I put it on.
Yeah, I'm good. All right, let's do the coffee.
All right, coffee it is.
All right.
There's the mixture right there.
Pinkies up.
Pinkies up.
Enjoy. It's light.
Yeah, it's good. It's good though.
You like it?
Yeah.
Good.
Also, this is the first coffee I've had in 2 weeks. So this is it's hitting nicely right now.
Okay. On that note, one thing with new listings, we got 2 rentals coming up at the shops at Don Mills.
Right.
I'm checking them out on Tuesday. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
Want to come check it out?
100%.
I'm going with, I don't know if I should say the client's name on air, but you know the guy I'm going with.
Okay.
We've met at an event in the past, so we'll go check it out on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I might be high right now. This hot sauce.
The buzzing is you get the heat head thing.
Heat halo. Yeah, wow. Okay. So this week we're not going too deep into real estate. This is more like a lifestyle, like a city.
It's a Toronto lifestyle thing.
Yeah, lifestyle thing. Yeah. Which indirectly does definitely affect real estate and your experience in the city, but we're not going deep in real estate in this one. So if you're looking for some crazy deep facts, you're not getting it here. Episode 17, we talked quite a bit about traffic.
It was a traffic episode.
Yeah. And I said why some of the problems that I think we have.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm catch my breath here. I'm just clearing out my sinuses like no tomorrow.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
on that episode, I brought up Uber as one of the major contributors to traffic in the city.
Yeah.
And what I said incorrectly was I didn't know of any caps on the amount of people that can be driving Ubers in the city.
Right.
It turns out there is a cap.
Oh, there is.
There is, yeah. And I guess every year the city re-looks at that number and adjusts it as necessary. Mm-hmm. And this year, for the first time, they're putting a cap on how many new Uber drivers can come operate in the city. Any guess on how many Uber drivers there actually are?
I can't guess because I know the answer.
Okay. So how many?
So we're above 50,000.
Yeah, 55,000 licenses in 2023. Do you want to take a guess as to how many cab licenses there are in the city?
Oh, would it be? I'm assuming it's less. I'm going to say quite a bit less.
Quite a bit less.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go half. I'll go 25,000.
Not even close.
Less than half. Mm-hmm. Okay, give it
7,500.
Oh, that's a huge gap.
There's not a lot of cab drivers, and not that makes a big deal, but just think about how many more cars are on the road because of Uber.
Now, did the cab licenses go down since Uber came into play?
I couldn't historically find a clear answer on that, so I didn't want to report one way or other.
Okay.
But what I do know is that 55,000 is a lot of vehicles on the road for ride-sharing services. And that includes Uber, Lyft. There's another company called FaceRide.
No, that's an interesting name.
I feel like it's also owned by a realtor. I remember something about like some realtor branching off and doing their own ride share thing. Yeah, FaceRide.
Okay.
Interesting name. But whatever. When I say Uber, I'm referring to all of those ride sharing services. So there's quite a bit in the city, and I think that's what's leading to a lot of congestion in the city. And so council, surprisingly, I think it was like Wednesday, put out a motion to freeze it.
Yeah.
They're not allowing more.
Yeah.
Now, that's very important to note because a couple of the councillors kind of went on the defense and saying, that's not right. That's going to affect affordability. Hang on. They're not lessening the amount. They're just saying, let's just take a pause and see if we need this many ride-sharing drivers on the road.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very smart approach.
It's a good way to look at it, for sure.
Yeah.
There's already 55,000. I'm sure there's not all 55, or you said 55, right? Yeah.
55,000.
Yeah. I'm sure there's not all 55 that do drive full time. So there may be, maybe this makes Uber think about ways to, not license people who are inactive or take away licenses that exist already.
I think that's a very good point, and it's an unknown point if that's accurate or not. So that means we need to take a closer look at the efficiency of the Uber ride-sharing system, and if there are ways we can make it where it's still profitable for them as a company to operate, but also all of us who have now lost a lot of, I don't want to say lost, but like basically we're sitting in traffic all the time.
Yeah.
And is there a more efficient way to balance it off? And I think this is really good that the city council is finally looking at this as an important topic to study further, because it drives me friggin' bonkers, and you as well. I mean, nobody likes traffic. Let's be real here.
No, absolutely not.
Unless you're listening to our podcast, then traffic's the greatest thing to ever happen to you. But I was quite happy that this was a thing, and I was like, someone listening to our podcast?
That's pretty crazy that it happened that quickly. It happened that quickly. It was a couple episodes ago.
10 episodes. 17, we're on 27.
Yeah,
27
okay,
minus 17 is 10.
Enough time to have a conversation and then make it happen.
Yeah, listen, let's be clear. I highly don't think our podcast influenced this outcome. So Uber, you don't have to sue us. But you know what? It was a very timely thing to happen, and whatever the reasoning, I'm glad it's happening.
Yeah.
So I think let's kind of pause for a second and let's look at ways we can be more efficient with the system, because believe it or not, as much as I hate Uber, I think Uber is a good thing.
Yes.
I think the platform and the ability to hail a cab from your phone is a step in the right direction.
Yes.
But we talk about the disruption economy. Yeah, it's doing exactly that. It's really disrupting not just the economy, but the flow of traffic and the stress and the anger that so many people have to function within the city.
Yes, especially when we're trying to become a more transit-friendly city, and you're kind of getting people to still be on the streets and in cars.
Right, and one of the points, so I came across, I didn't know there was a whole website coalition dedicated to looking at this topic in more detail.
Yeah.
What did I put their name down here? Fair Ride TO?
Yeah.
No, Ride Fair TO.
Ride Fair, okay.
Yeah, is the name of the company. And so I started following them on Twitter, and I really did a deep dive into reading about their whole thing. And like, they agree, Uber is not bad or ride sharing is not bad. It's just we need to be more efficient with how we implement that in the city streets and not just have a free for all where these companies can come in and really clog up the streets.
Yes.
And one of the points they said was, you know, as more people take these ride sharing services, less are using public transit.
Right.
And then we have less funding for public transit. And so that's a whole snowball effect of now you have 4 people in a car as opposed to 50 people on a bus.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's where a big issue can definitely come from. Something I don't know if we've mentioned it, but this pause is only for 2024.
Right.
And it ends at 2024. Well, technically it ends at
right now. They're saying that. Yeah. I'm sure they'll take a closer.
Come 2024, they're gonna kind of analyze what's happening and what the repercussions are, and that's when they're gonna kind of see where things have lied since they put that pause on.
Yeah, and I hope it's not just a pause and wait. They weren't really too detailed on what's gonna happen in that year, but I really hope there's like some hard science and Uber opens up, or the ride sharing services open up some of their data. So we do have a better understanding of where the needs of Uber are best served.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like we can split the city up into I forget about it. That idea doesn't work. But you know, there's definitely room for improvement, and I think this is a step in the right direction for that.
Agreed. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate.
Please.
Okay. So
you're pro ride sharing?
I'll be pro ride sharing.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's the 3 main arguments I've heard with this situation.
Okay.
That they've been talking about. So one is reducing congestion in the streets. That's an obvious one. There's a lot of drivers. I'm not going to argue that. That's yes.
Okay. We agree on that.
Yes, that's something that
traffic is bad.
Reducing emissions is number 2.
Yep.
Same thing. I can't really touch that very much. But their big takeaway point, which is kind of the thing that I'm like, I toy on a little bit, is their big argument is wages for Uber drivers that are driving are too low because there's too many drivers on the streets. And in order to have their wages get increased, we need to decrease the amount of drivers so that can happen. This throws me for a loop because this is a huge argument that they're really pushing is this idea that Uber drivers they can't make a living off of this. But my thought process is obviously if you're going to pay Uber drivers more, it's going to cost more. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So that's a big argument that I think is a little bit of a weird one that they're pushing on.
So Uber's stance is by capping the amount of licensed drivers, our drivers will not make enough money.
So the Uber stance is this is my stance. I guess not Uber stance specifically. Okay. It's my stance is that
by putting a cap in,
you're going to reduce the amount of drivers, and in turn, you're going to allow the current Uber drivers to actually make a proper living off of it because they get paid too little.
Okay.
And my response is, well, if they get paid more, that means rideshare expenses go up.
Okay.
In the economy that we're in. So
yeah,
you know what I'm getting at?
I've heard that argument.
Yeah.
Out there. I'm gonna razor's edge that response, like off the top ropes, macho man.
Let's do it.
Elbow.
Let's do it because there's something that I'm hoping comes of this.
Yeah.
And I think I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead.
So this is part of my deep diving with Fair Ride TO. They had a really good thread on Twitter on how much does an Uber driver actually make. So pre me looking into this, my understanding was if I'm paying surge pricing, they're getting that money.
Yeah.
And I was mad at the individual driver thinking like, oh, you're gouging me, not thinking it's actually the algorithm of Uber that affects the prices and the driver's actually not getting that extra money for surge pricing.
Right.
It's the company profiting from it. So they did a really good thread. I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can. And honestly, I feel much more sympathetic for Uber drivers. Like, I think it's a very shitty gig that they have, given the way the structure they have to operate in. And it works like this. They pay them $34 an hour to be an Uber driver. Hey, that doesn't sound so bad. $34 is a good, decent sum of money.
This is Uber?
This is Uber. Pays them $34. However, of engaged driving. So you have to have someone in your car to count towards that hour. So if you're sitting vacant for 50% of the time, which is kind of what the data is showing, you're only making half of that an hour. So now you're at whatever, let's call it 35, 17, 16, 50 an hour, something in that range.
Right.
Plus insurance, gas, leasing, if you're leasing your car, licensing fees to Uber. Yep. So in the end of it, and I don't know how accurate this number is, but the number they came up with is about $5 an hour these guys are making.
Yeah.
So when Uber's charging you $230 to go 10 kilometers, they're not seeing that profit.
Yeah.
It's the company making the profit.
So this is, so that's exactly what I was going to say. Was what I hope comes of this is figuring out a way, which I don't know how. This is where the discussion needs to happen, because the issue of less drivers equals more money, because we pay for it at the end of the day. The people that take Uber are the people that are going to end up paying for it. Because Uber's structure that they run inside of their business is where the problem really lies. Is their share towards the actual drivers is not, it's terrible.
Right.
Especially since they're contracting them out and all the expenses still lie on the drivers.
Contracting them out. That's another heated element with these ride sharing services is they're not actually employees. They're contractors.
Right.
So the ride sharing services do not have to pay them EI and insurance and all those other fun things.
Right.
So part of the argument is if you make them employees, they'll make a fair wage. Therefore, you don't need to have so many cars competing for the money.
Right.
It's a more balanced way of doing it. And that's a whole other conversation, which is way beyond my intellect level to understand. But there is a problem with how they're classifying their Uber drivers as contract instead of employees, making them make less. So I'm all for this cap. I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think it's going to result in us paying higher fares unless Uber specifically charges more to try and, get back at city for this.
Well, that's exactly what I think might end up happening.
Yeah.
So they've already talked about the fact that they're looking into legal, like a legal way to get this not happen.
Yeah. Cool. Not scared.
No, but what they can still be, I guess, a pricier option because people still do use Uber because it is, if you're thinking about it in a service respect, it's still a better service than a taxi service. In a sense that it's more expensive, but you know who your driver is. It's all logged online. You know it's just more convenient.
Yeah, but that's where the efficiency in the system can come. Like, why can't we have, if you can actually order a yellow cab or an orange color, whatever the color of cabs are, you can order them through Uber. You can order a regular cab to pick you up through Uber.
Right.
So we can still have that safety and security with a regular cabbie driver. It's not really cabbie versus Uber that's my problem. It's the way Uber has kind of shoved their system on city streets without kind of getting any pushback. It's been a free reign. It's like, we're here, we're disrupting. What can you do about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
No, you at some point you tried that and it's not working. And we're saying, here's a problem in the relationship. Let's figure out a way to make it work for both of us.
Right.
Now, this might seem like, two podcasters with a pie in the sky idea. This would never work. Well, our friends down in the Big Apple, you know where that is, right?
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm not talking about Chicago. I'm talking about New York here. Our friends in New York, the government regulates the number of ride-hail licenses. So they regulate it. They do have a cap on it. They regulate the fares and the minimum driver pay, as well as a congestion fee. Now, Uber didn't like that. They pushed back and they tried all their legal tactics and whatever, and they've had to bend to the regulations of the city. And I think, look, there's a place for Uber. I do think it can make the ride-sharing system more efficient for people that need it. But it can't just be a one-sided Uber gets to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first step the city has taken to do that. And I wonder, why hasn't previous governments even had this conversation?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sure it's something money related and sponsorship related, but I'm glad that there is this conversation happening.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when you think about the fact that our transit needs a lot of help, and when you take budget away from our transit system, it's I would say that's a big argument.
Well, it's not the budget that's being taken away. It's more that there's not as much fares going through the system because they're using Ubers.
Right. I guess that's more what I meant. Yeah, just less money going towards something that we need more help with.
Yeah. No, I think the hot sauce just dialed me in, and I'm elevating at a super intelligent level. No, I'm kidding. No, I agree with that. I think they're definitely, again, it just goes back to just finding a more efficient way to use Uber. Uber doesn't need to leave. We don't need to ban it. I think that's a little too extreme.
Yeah.
But it's time that we kind of look at what the city actually needs and finding a balance of how many cars are on the road, type of thing, and making that work. So I'm quite excited to see where that goes. But one thing I discovered that was a real big, piss off to me was that surge pricing doesn't go to the driver. That Uber just takes that as profit. So, should surge pricing even be allowed?
That is insane to me too.
Yeah, because surge pricing only comes into effect when there's some type of problem in the city.
Yeah.
And they're almost penalizing you for trying to find a way out.
Yeah.
I agree. Go trains down.
That's unreal. So I went on the Uber site because I saw that and I was like, that's not possible because yeah, exactly. You're penalizing somebody for something that honestly doesn't affect, like Uber doesn't actually get affected. It's the drivers that get affected.
Right.
So how do they get to take the profit? And they actually on their website say that surge pricing goes to the driver, or at least maybe a portion of it, or maybe it's a small portion.
Okay.
So I would be curious to see what that actually looks like, because that's absurd. Yeah.
Or like if you pay them fairly, maybe we don't need to have surge pricing and get them that bonus when the user needs it the most. Like I saw prices of like $280 to go from Union Station to Scarborough.
It's unreal.
What?
Yeah.
I think I could take a train to Montreal for that price. Like imagine going home one day, you work, I don't know, you make $200-$300 a day at your job, and you just basically did the whole thing get home.
One day to get home. Yeah.
Like, yeah, there needs to be some regulation against that happening. And I think it's a good step that the city is now taking a closer look at this. And, the argument is the city should stay out of capitalism, let capitalism do what capitalism does. Yeah, I could see that in some arguments, but a little bit of intervention is, I think, needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
To make it a bit more fair.
I'm on board with that.
Which like got my head spinning about Airbnb. Okay. And I'm not going to tackle it on this episode, but I think like there's also, I think after we deal with this Uber thing, we need to look at Airbnb a bit deeper, because if we're saying this disruption economy of ride sharing has affected traffic, well, the same could be said about the disruption economy of Airbnb and rentals. How much inventory is taken off for people participating in Airbnb that can be used as, your 1 year, 2 year rentals?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, we'll get into that with a little bit more hot sauce.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I like it. We're gonna start off every podcast with a new hot sauce and a new espresso.
I mean, I'm game for that. Yeah. So I mean, I think I want to bring some attention to this because I think it's a very important topic, and really share some of the insights that I learned digging into this topic of like how the Uber system works and room for efficiency.
Yeah, I like it. This is happening in our city, so this works.
Yeah, and I think like all major cities are using Uber, so like we can all collectively look at this. Uber won't like this.
Yeah.
But I think there's a way to find efficiencies and just have them operate in a little bit more fair level.
Yeah.
And the goal is to kind of limit the amount of unnecessary congestion we have on the roads. And we can criticize the city for their, the way they handle road improvements and the road closures. Like, hey, they're not great at all. But right now we're just focusing on the ride sharing and saying like that is one element that I think has contributed quite a bit to the traffic we have in the city.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right. That's my spiel on it.
I like
Anything
it.
else you want
to add?
Yeah.
No, I think
have you had any cool Uber experiences?
Cool ones?
Yeah.
I had one guy sing to me once.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you sing back?
No. No, it was when I was still doing audio engineering.
Okay. And you told him you were an audio engineer?
Yeah, I told him I was, and then he just started singing.
He thought you were a talent agent and could get him a career.
Oh, it was amazing, man.
Yeah,
it just kicked off. Baby girl. It was beautiful.
Oh, sorry, keep going with that.
That's exactly what it was. I'm not even kidding. Front seat. It was. I sing a bit.
Okay.
Baby girl. Ooh, baby girl.
We got to find this guy.
That was incredible. Yeah, that was probably my best ride ever.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Look, almost every Uber ride I've had, the drivers really make the experience.
Yeah.
And that's where I wish they got a little bit more fairness and attention. And these guys are working to make it in this unaffordable city. And like, I've had really good experiences with Uber. They've always been quite, caring and helpful. And
yeah,
they want to get to know you. A lot of times they're not new to Canada, but they're not born in Canada.
Yep.
And so like there's all that, hey, I'm from here, and you get a really good experience of learning where they're from and what their lifestyle's like. So like I'll love taking an Uber to have the conversations with people. I just think the way they're paying them is probably not right.
Agreed. Yeah. That I cannot argue. That's absolutely.
Yeah. Do you remember, I don't know, like in the beginning, how cheap Uber was compared to?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was when it first started, before it really hit home, it was like incredible.
Yeah.
Especially the main thing that got them like exploited like crazy, which is that $20 first free ride.
The referral. Yeah.
Yeah. The first free ride. I was one of the first with it. It was my brother who introduced it to me.
Nice.
And I was the one telling all my friends about it.
Nice.
And everyone's like, I'm not doing that. What the hell is this? And then it ended up, blowing
Exploded.
up.
Yeah.
But it was so amazing because you were just driving over for free for the first little bit.
Do you remember your first Uber ride? Was it memorable?
No, I can't remember it. Yeah.
So I was going down to the interior design show downtown.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I was like, oh, I'll take a cab down. Let me try this Uber thing out. Dude, they sent me a Cadillac Escalade to pick me up. It was a massive black car. I'm like, and my neighbors were like, what the heck is this guy into?
The president's coming.
Yeah. And I jumped in there and I went down. I'm like, you know what? This Uber thing's not so bad. Of course, it was like the old bait and switch, get you hooked. And then, I had one bad experience where they charged me like $175 to travel 3 blocks. And I'm like,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad one. That's probably one of the worst I've actually like physically heard.
Yeah, I fought that.
Okay.
I fought that. Cause like the first driver canceled on me. So then they surge priced me on the second one. I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
I'm not standing for that. And listen, they've been pretty good. Whenever you kind of do push back on bad experiences, they are quite.
They do take care of it.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, guys, you're not terrible. You just need to get a little bit better.
Yeah, agreed.
Fix it up a bit.
Yep.
There was another Uber story I had that came to me that I forgot. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways. Oh, I know what it was. Okay. I'll tell you what is really bad with Uber delivery.
Oh man.
Yeah. Don't do Uber delivery. Like if you want to buy a house or a condo or get into the real estate game, look at the fees you're paying for food delivery.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah, not even talking about what that food is doing to your body.
Yeah.
But that is the one element. Yeah, that like, it's like smoking. It's like, I have no money. Well, stop smoking. You'll probably save quite a bit. Uber deliveries for food is, well, we've gone through this. It's
Uber delivery destroys me.
Destroys you. Yeah.
And I'm a victim. I'm going to call myself a victim.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
It's something, it's one of those like, and like everybody has, it's regrettable every time you do it, but you keep doing it because of that convenience.
Yeah.
But man, those fees, what is let's say a $20 bill turns into $40 in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And now adds to the congestion of the roads. And I don't think this is here yet, but I saw in the US, you can actually hire an Uber to return something for you.
That's crazy.
So think about how, like, shout out my wife.
Like at like a Winners?
Yeah. Well, like, let's say I'll use my wife as an example.
Yeah.
She somehow gets a lot of packages from Zara sent to our house.
Yeah.
And if the clothes don't work, she would go to Yorkdale and return it. Well, in the US, you can pay Uber $5 to take that package back for you. They don't take it back to Zara. They take it to the post office, who then ships it back.
Right.
It's a whole system. But so like, imagine how many extra cars are going to be on the road just for people returning stuff.
Yeah. Also true. Yeah. That's an interesting one.
Right.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
And so like, I think like this whole ride sharing thing can really congest our streets if we don't start getting a better handle on it today and setting some parameters for them to get through.
I like it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, maybe that's my conclusion. We need a balanced approach that keeps existing drivers busy before we start adding all these new ones, and we figure out how many drivers we actually need. What's an efficient range of numbers that we need on the road?
Yeah. I think this 2024 is going to hopefully tell us some new information.
Yeah, that's my Jerry Springer's final thoughts. Do you remember that? He just recently died.
Jerry Springer?
Yeah.
Did he? I think he did.
He did, yeah. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Jerry Springer.
Jerry,
I used to watch it with my nonna all the time.
Oh, yeah?
She had no idea what they were talking about.
Steve.
Yeah. She wouldn't say Steve. Jerry. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much.
She loved it. Any shout outs?
Shoutouts.
Beer Town.
Shout out Beer Town.
Shout out Beer Town. I want to go to Beer Town so bad.
We're going to go.
And can we play Funky Town when we go there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we'll take an Uber.
Hey.
Uber, you want to send us a credit to Beer Town? I want to shout out Yukashi Toronto. If you just do it. It's a great experience. It's a lot of money, but it's really cool. Shout out Ryan and Brenda for treating us to that. Really appreciate it. Shout out Ashley Evans from our office. And I forgot to shout out Scott and Maddie.
Oh,
yeah. I went to Lardo with him the week before. Lardo's the spot, man. I keep going there.
Yeah, that's it seems like it.
Yeah, the coffee's great.
Yeah.
Ambiance is good. Music's good. Oh, and the other cool thing about Lardo is they're analog. So there's no Wi-Fi.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can still use your phone. And
when you say analog, you mean like...
They don't offer you Wi-Fi is all I mean.
Okay. So you plug into the router with it.
No, there is no router. Yeah. Which I thought was a nice... I don't know. I'm all for that. Like, we need a safe space where there's not like constant connectivity.
I like it.
Yeah. And we get to talk with friends, and like the conversation Ashley and I were having, it was like so good to reconnect on a human level.
Yeah.
Instead of like a Zoom call or any of that.
I like it. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. All right. Shout out Beer Town. JP from the office gave you a suggestion when you're doing your your months of inventory.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have to call them second. We can call them runner ups.
Oh, okay. That works.
Thank you, JP, for that insightful suggestion. All right. That's it for today, I think.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. See you next week. Thanks for listening to the Toronto Livings Real Estate Podcast. You could find more information on how we work over at TorontoLivingswithan.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter to get price reports from over 150 different neighborhoods in the city each and every month.
If you got any value, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And if you made it this far, thanks for listening.